On today's episode of Titus and Tate, would you believe it, Tate? The NBA playoffs are still going on. I was led to believe that the Boston Celtics had already won the NBA championship. Yes. They beat the Brooklyn Nets in Game 1.
I thought Pat Beverly won the championship.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I thought there were a lot of champions. The Celtics beat the Nets in Game 1, and I was under the impression that it was over and that was it, and the Celtics were your NBA champions. And so... just imagine my surprise when I turned on my television this weekend.
And there was Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Dunking all over the Boston Celtics.
Dominating.
And I thought, wait a second. We're going to talk about the playoffs a little bit. What that entails, I don't know. We're going to have fun doing it.
Can't wait.
Do like a playoff dump, dude, because we haven't really talked much about the NBA playoffs.
And we promised that we would last episode, but Kyle was there, and we had to talk about the engagement.
I had an idea to tease the NBA. You know how like Kimmel always does with Matt Damon where we ran out of time? I had an idea.
And sorry to Matt Damon, we ran out of time.
I had an idea of all throughout the playoffs, you and I keep saying like, and of course we'll hit the playoffs here at the end of the show, and then we start a show and we just talk about the transfer portal for an hour every single show, and then be like,
can we agree not to talk about the transfer portal? That's one thing I want to not talk about.
I don't know. It's my new Coach K that like as much as I don't want to talk about it, I just get sucked in. I'm sucked into the portal right now. I think I'm in the portal. One
thing I want to ban is the term portaling. I've seen a lot of the, this is kind of, we have a lot of these terms that come up in the college basketball space. Let's get rid of that one. Let's throw that one out.
Yeah, portaling, the Rothstein's portal combat deal is a huge swing and a miss, but he keeps taking those cuts, dude. Like, Rothstein will step in the batter's box.
Imperfect.
He'll take a big cut. He'll fall out of his shoes. His helmet will fall off. He'll get up. He'll dust himself off, and he'll swing just as hard. He's Javier Baez, is John Rothstein on Twitter. He's just like, I'm swinging for the fences. I know one speed. Anyway, we're going to talk about playoffs. Maybe we'll talk a little portaling. I don't know.
Ban it.
We'll see. You have to listen to the whole show to find out. But first,
Woody Durham.
All right, Tate. NBA playoffs going on. We are in the conference semifinals, I believe.
Yes.
If this was college basketball, we would call this the Elite Eight, I believe. Very chalky bracket. How's your bracket looking?
It's looking really good.
It's good. I had all the top seeds advancing as well, so my bracket is perfect.
It's on fire.
You won't hear people talk about that. You'll hear, when my name gets mentioned, people like to bring up that 2 years in a row, my national champion lost in the very first round in March Madness. You won't hear people talk about how I have a perfect NBA bracket, though. And I just find that interesting. I just find it that the haters get silent around playoff time when suddenly
you know how it
exactly
works.
What I'm talking about. Yeah.
Ja Morant was tweeting about haters today. Trae Young was tweeting about haters today. Haters are having a tough Monday.
I love that Ja Morant's father is his biggest hater. And
trash. That's how he described his last series.
Yes, that was serious.
He basically made the series-winning layup there at the end of the game.
Yeah.
With Anthony Edwards trailing him, the guy that was trying to win the series himself.
Yeah.
And his father says trash. But it feeds into the internet, it feeds into Twitter. And, have you seen the meme where it's like, Ja, 39 tweets, 12 points? There's a lot of that.
I've not seen that.
A lot of tweet counting.
There's tweet counting.
Yeah, people are very upset that Ja is tweeting.
What is more egregious to NBA fans? Because I noticed our guy Duncan Robinson, who we have not heard from in a while.
A trillionaire.
No,
that was the last time we heard from him.
Dude, Duncan had a great game in the first series. He had like 27 or so. He couldn't miss.
No, I know.
But Duncan, he was an OG friend of the program. He hasn't been on in a while. Summer League killed our Duncan, our Duncan coming on the show.
Tommy stole Duncan from us.
Tommy
be
Alter
honest.
stole Duncan. And we've been trying to get him back, but Duncan started a podcast of his own, as we know.
Yes, the Long Shot. Great show.
Subscribe, listen, go support our friends.
Yeah.
But I have, as Duncan signed his big contract and has done his podcast, I know he's talked about this a lot. If he has a bad game, people will chirp at him and say, maybe a little less podcasting, buddy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like they blame the fact that he's talking in a microphone for an hour a week.
Meanwhile, Draymond Green is doing a podcast in the second half of a game that he got thrown out of. And I did not see one person say that.
So my question to you is, what do you think is more egregious to NBA fans online? Tweeting a lot or podcasting a lot? When you don't play well, are they counting up the podcast?
And are they really just yelling at themselves? You know what I mean? Is it a projection? That's really the larger question. Are the people on Twitter who are also podcasting too much just yelling at people that are doing that? They're tweeting and podcasting too much. That's what I think it is.
Just everybody yelled in a circle at each other. So when you think about where we're at with the NBA playoffs, we're recording this on Monday afternoon. I think the
Sixers,
Heat, and
Mavs Suns.
Mavs Suns. That's right. Are tonight. So we watched yesterday the other two series. Where are you at? What is your big thought? What are when you think of where these NBA playoffs are?
What's your one big thing?
What is your one big thing? What do you No, what do you want to talk about? What do you think the focal point of the playoffs is right now?
Well, I think the focal point in the NBA always runs through Boston. You know what I mean? I think they are somehow in control of the optics and the narrative of what happens in basketball, especially at the professional level. So I think the real conversation is right now, everyone has been making these top 5 players under 25 lists for a long time. You know what I mean?
Why?
No one knows why.
Who
Who cares? No one knows why.
Why?
But I guess the impetus is we are trying to find the next LeBron. We are trying to find the next face of the league. And people have circled the wagons. They have tried to figure out who is.
Why are they doing this when we've already done this with the recruiting rankings? We've already we find the next LeBron every year in the recruiting rankings. Why do we need to do it
and
again?
247 every single year say this is the next LeBron.
Why do we need to do it at the NBA level?
Well, it just keeps happening.
Andrew Wiggins is the next LeBron. It's done. We've already figured.
Yeah, the cycle continues. He's right there. He's a starter in the All-Star game. He's right there in front of you. Have some respect for Andrew Wiggins. But that seems to be happening. And meanwhile, I think everyone keeps having this, especially after KD gets swept. KD is no longer the best player in the world, right? The media doesn't know what to do. LeBron is not in the playoffs. They cannot say that he is the best player in the world. They may try, but right now there's this crux of where do we go from here?
There's a vacancy.
Yes. We're at the crossroads. Shout out to Bone Thugs. We're at the crossroads right now. Yeah, everyone's trying to figure out where we're going to go. And I think the story in the NBA now is probably the guy that dropped 50 points in a closeout game in the finals last year. And somehow everyone has forgotten that Giannis Antetokounmpo did that. I know there was all excuses as to why he did it. But the man is here. The man is a machine. And he is greatness. And what he's doing to Boston, or what he did in that first game, I think showed exactly what I've been watching for now 3 years. But now it's running through the Boston playoff
I find this fascinating.
Situation. So now the world is going to say Giannis is the greatest player in the world, and that is the biggest storyline.
I think you hit the nail on the head for me as well, because what has become a huge storyline to me, or the thing that I'm taking away from these playoffs so far, is that the Boston media machine is much larger than I even realized it was. And everyone listening is probably going to think I'm talking about Bill because we worked for him, and he's the Boston sports guy in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
like that. If I could come up with a nickname for Bill, I'd be like, that is the Boston sports guy. But it's not even Bill. Like the more you start paying attention, the more you realize how many
Bill
people
is like the national basketball guy, right? But he still comes from it all comes from Boston.
But that's what I'm saying. Like Bill isn't even the problem, because Bill wears it on his sleeve, and who Bill is.
Exactly.
In the same way Verno's a Memphis guy, and you're like, so when Verno talks about Memphis, I know what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
There is an element,
or Carolina, or you Ohio State. He lets you know.
But the problem is when you have so many people in in basketball media that are Boston adjacent, and they're like, I'm not a Boston fan, and then you look them up on Wikipedia, and they grew up in like Connecticut or something. You're like, wait a second, that can't be.
How do you say it? Worcestershire.
Or Worcestershire.
I can't even say it.
And then you start slowly realizing that the Celtics are the Duke of the NBA, and that they have there are so many Duke guys that are very in your face about their Dukeness, but then there's so many guys like a Mike Jaminski, for example, who you're like, wait a second, that dude, Seth Davis, he went to Duke? Wait, what? Wait a second. And it hit me when I was when we were in New Orleans, and I was hanging out with Stanford Steve, and we went out to get wings, and the dude's wearing a big Celtics Larry Bird warm-up thing. I'm not kidding. He was wearing a Larry Bird warm-up. I was like, dude, that is sick. And I was like, I love Bird so much. He's like, same, brother. And I was like, and we're just kind of talking. And then I said something to him. I was like, wait, you like really love Bird? He's like, yeah, of course I love Bird, man. I grew up in Connecticut, and like I love the Celtics, whatever. And I was like, dude, every single person in this game is a Celtics fan.
Yeah,
and the whole point is that as someone who's obviously paying more attention to college basketball throughout the season than the NBA, I have learned from these playoffs that you can't listen to a single damn thing that applies to the Celtics. It's probably true of the Lakers as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
I'd say the Celtics and
It's
Lakers,
those
just
two
throw
franchises.
it out. Throw it out. Whatever you're hearing, good, bad, or otherwise, just throw it out. It doesn't mean
It's
anything.
PR.
It's all PR because first of all, Marcus Smart won a Defensive Player of the Year. Granted, I did not watch the Celtics. I did not watch every second of Celtics basketball this year to where like I'm saying it was the wrong pick. Maybe he was the best regular season defender. I understand these are regular season awards, but watching the Bucks Celtics game one, Marcus Smart was even a top 5 defender on the floor. Is he even one of the 5 best defenders?
Well, I
in this
think
series?
Robert Williams is the best defender on the Celtics, but Marcus Smart deserved the win of the award based on, I guess, the narrative. But then also the same people were like, look at the numbers.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at the numbers, like Jaren Jackson should have been a finalist.
My gripe's not even with Marcus. My gripe's not with Marcus Smart, not with anything else. My gripe is like somehow
your gripe is with the PR.
My gripe is with like a guy who's like not paying a ton of attention to the NBA like me. Gets led down these wrong paths, Tate, where you're told that like Boston has figured it out. They play great. You're like, and if you pay attention to the NBA media landscape, you're thinking that Boston. I think they really literally were the betting favorites after round 1, right?
And they're the favorites in the series.
They're still fair. Okay, maybe that makes sense. What I don't know. My point is that you get led astray where this narrative gets built that like Boston has figured it out. They play great team defense. Jason Tatum has emerged as one of the top 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you name it, pick your number, players in the NBA.
Top 9. That
is why you put those two together with the team defense with so many guys that can guard the championship DNA in this team that's never won a championship. And you start like you hear all these things, and then like that's the reason the Celtics are the best team, and that's the reason they're going to win the NBA championship. Meanwhile, as a guy again who just like kind of pops in for the playoffs, I feel like every description of why the Celtics should be the favorites to win the NBA championship apply to the Milwaukee Bucks, who are also the defending champions. And it was very confusing to me heading into this series. It felt like everybody was picking Boston. And then the Bucks kicked their ass, and it now feels like people are a little bit surprised by that. But to your point, Giannis is incredible. Lopez is back, who didn't even play that much this year.
No, they have the best rim protection in the NBA and in the playoffs. As we've learned over the years, what do you need? Defense and rim protection.
And maybe the Celtics end up winning the series.
No,
I'm not saying what's going to happen. I'm saying
the Celtics should win game 2.
Yeah.
And when they do win game 2,
they're back
I'm excited to watch First Take and everything because they're going to be like, I don't know, Milwaukee without Chris Middleton, I still feel good about my Celtics pick, and then they get going and we're back in the same spot. But I mean, if you watch this series, there is no doubt, and it has been that way in every series he's played in since the bubble. The bubble was the last time you watched Giannis in the playoffs. I mean, it was the bubble. But with the last time you watched him in the playoffs, and you were like, this guy can't get it done. But since then, in every series, we thought he tore his ACL against the Hawks, and he came back and dropped 50 points in the finals. 2 weeks later. So I don't see anyone better than number 34 in the world. And if I'm the Bucks and I am on that team, I think we're going to win every game we play because of Giannis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he could drop 70 if he had to. He dominates games. He is. And I'm a Jordan guy, and I would sincerely be like, I would pass the crown to Giannis.
What do you mean?
If he keeps his trajectory up, where he just continues to win and dominate, I think he could end up being one of the greatest ever. I truly believe that.
Let me think about that.
Think about it.
Let me think.
He's Jordan and Olajuwon in one, in my mind.
Let me think about. I'm just trying to do the calculation on how insane. Like, I'm trying to figure out if I say okay, is that am I implicated? How insane is? No, I'm with you that Giannis has been you're absolutely right that like he's the best player in the league and has been for a while, and yet
3 years
it takes doing it against Boston in the playoffs, because that's the only thing that counts. It's great that he can do it against all these other teams, but can he do it against Boston in the playoffs when he actually already literally has done it against Boston in the playoffs?
He'll probably go 7 for 21 in the next game, and there will be a lot of people coming and being like, "That's the Boston.
He can't handle
Boston's defense."
Yeah, exactly.
Because it flips like that. But I'm just saying, you have to wait. There will be peaks and valleys in every series with Giannis. There, like we've seen. But at the end of the day, if you have him, you have a really good chance.
Okay, so when you say if he continues his trajectory, he could be in the GOAT conversation.
He won his first title at 26. Jordan won his first title at 27.
Okay.
and Jordan won 6 championships. I would say this. I think Giannis, when LeBron did not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, we all know what the number was. The number was 7 to get past Jordan. To be like, I am the greatest. I'm better.
There's still time.
There's still time.
There's still time. Don't give up yet, LeBron.
Okay. But I think
he's never missing the playoffs again. That's what he said, right? So, I mean, like, start right there. He's got a few more cracks.
The cool part of it will be that Giannis will be compared to LeBron in the same way LeBron was compared to Jordan, which I think is a nice, like, 1 to 2 to,
I'm with you. I think for me, I just don't want
We're a long ways away from this conversation. I'm just getting ahead of it to say if he continues on this trajectory, I will not be shocked if we have Mad Dog and Skip Bayless and all these guys in 5 years being like, I told you Giannis was the best player in the world, going crazy. Because he really does fit, and he's one defensive player of the year. He's
Mad Dog's still arguing Bob Cousy.
But he's not better than Cousy.
No, all right, I'm with it.
That's where
I'm with it. I don't think it has to be.
But it starts here. You know what I mean? Like when LeBron in Game 6 against the Celtics in 2012 dropped 45, all those Celtics fans that had been going after him, you know what I mean, for all those years, they finally tipped the cap and said LeBron is the best player in the world.
Like you have to get the initial boost has to be from the Boston.
And I think it starts here.
Yeah. I want to agree, but like at the same time, I don't want to get sucked into the. I just don't want to get sucked into the GOAT conversations. Like that is another thing that's been frustrating me about watching the playoffs is just like having LeBron not in the playoffs has just. Maybe I'm consuming the wrong NBA media or something. I don't really like seek it out. It just like finds its way to me, dude. Yeah. And maybe it's because LeBron's not in the playoffs, but it does feel like every single time a game is played. Not being me, I'm not including in the but we as a basketball community, we as hashtag NBA Twitter, shout out to those guys. Those guys are so cool, dude. You see some of these memes on NBA Twitter? Oh my god, dude, so good.
What if Elon Musk says he's getting rid of NBA?
Just bans NBA Twitter. I'll sign up for another Twitter account, dude. I just throw money at Elon. Dude, man. Thank you so much. I would get it then. I would get all the fanboys. I'd be like, you finally, like, I get it now. Elon makes sense.
You've become.
I'd go buy a Tesla. I'd
KOC and you both have Teslas. I like that.
But every time a game is played, we have to update it, and we have to say like what happened. So Jason Tatum loses game 1, doesn't have a great game. Where does he fall?
He was top 3 in the league. I think he's 6th now.
And again, everyone listening is gonna think I'm talking about Bill. I'm not. Like this is.
It's not Bill.
Nick Wright does
this.
it.
Yeah.
Our colleague at Fox, he does it. He's got his Nick Wright. I would bet any amount of money that Nick Wright's spreadsheet that he updates regularly about where his top guys are is far more detailed than Bill's. I would bet any amount of money that Nick Wright has multiple tabs and he's got like
imagine Skip Bayless.
Yeah, Skip's got the same thing. Which is like I guess that's the game now, and I guess that's like but this to me as a casual that pops in for the playoffs, like these conversations are nauseating, and I don't want to be a part of it. Like I feel like NBA discourse is broken, Tate, and it needs to be fixed. But at the same time, I'm Rick Pitino with the Maryland job, and I just want to say it will not be me.
It will not be.
I'm not going to fix it.
Yeah,
I just like want someone to fix it.
I do think, and I say that I do think that Giannis could fix it. I think Giannis could break it all because Giannis does not care about any of it.
Doesn't care about being a GOAT. Yeah,
I don't want. He literally would rather remove himself from being like if the NBA came to Giannis and said, "We got the contract. You're the face of the league. Sign it today."
Yeah,
he would say, "It will not be me."
You're playing for Team USA.
He would say, "It will not be me."
Yeah, it will.
He will get up and leave the table.
Yeah,
and that is why I think that he could be that guy that kind of breaks it all because he is not. He's not a part of the pep rally that's going on over here, and all this pyramid building and breaking and and restructuring and where does KG fit in now? Is Giannis better than KG? I don't know, but I think he breaks all the discourse because we can all enjoy him and watch him. He doesn't really care about the personal stuff.
Why is again? Maybe I'm consuming the wrong media, but it feels like if you were doing the most likable, first of all all the foreign guys in the league are far, 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 or by a factor of hundreds, more likable.
Well,
than the American
look at
players.
Jokic when he loses to the Warriors, right?
Yeah.
He goes up to every one of those guys. Draymond like thanks him for making him better
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
player at the end of the series, right?
Jokic, Embiid,
Giannis.
Luka, like all these guys are so much easier to cheer for than I don't know.
And the fifth
American
guy on that list was supposed to be Ben Simmons. So does he detract all the other pluses?
That's true. That's true. That's true. Ben Simmons.
Does 4
Never mind.
times 0 equal 0?
I take it
Yeah.
all back. But why is Luka
Adored?
I mean, I get why he's adored. He's a great basketball player.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun to watch. What I don't get is that if you were to do a draft amongst all the media types and that follow the NBA of pick a guy that's playing right now that has a chance to be in the GOAT conversation when it's all said and done. It feels like, again, maybe I'm wrong. I hate straw manning here because like I don't, but like this is my perception just from like living on the outside, just kind of consuming what pops up into my purview. It feels like Luka would be everyone's pick, which I'm not saying is the wrong pick per se. Yeah.
Or someone like that.
But it just, from my perspective, it does feel a little insane that Giannis has won MVPs. He won the title last year, and it feels like the Bucks are extremely disrespected in this year's playoffs. I don't know all the reasons. I understand Chris Middleton's out. The Bucks are a 3 seed. I guess for some reason people care about that, even though like it is hilarious to watch how hard these guys try in the playoffs versus the regular season.
Well, guess who has home court now? The Bucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes one game.
But why is that? Why is it? It can't just be a small market deal. Like that doesn't make any sense. I refuse to believe that's the reason. But like why
It doesn't make any sense because people, when these scouts first saw Giannis, he was the kid, the towel boy standing over in these Greek leagues. And when he got picked at 15, people laughed at John Hammond. They were like, "You're taking this guy 15th."
Yeah.
Like he just never was supposed to be that guy, and now he clearly is that guy. It's unbelievable story. Disney bought his life rights because they're like, this guy's story is so unbelievable. We want to share his story. And yet the league that he is an employee of does not have the whatever it takes to be like if David Stern, I truly believe this, if David Stern was the commissioner currently in 2017, 2018, 2019, somewhere in that 3-year window, he would have pivoted everything to Giannis.
Yeah.
Everything would be Giannis.
Yeah.
And Giannis would be everywhere. And he'd have the number 1 selling shoe, and Nike it would be. But
his story is incredible. His demeanor is incredible.
But they're in the business.
Humility.
The torch was already decided that it was passed from LeBron, and LeBron extended his reign. But he was supposed to pass it to KD. It's still going. By the way,
he's passing it to Bronny. That's what he's waiting on.
Yeah, but like all that PR, right?
Yeah.
Distracts from the fact that the reality is in front of us. We're watching a 7-footer. Who is basically unstoppable. The only guy I could see stopping him is Joel Embiid, who's just bigger and he's unstoppable. You know what I mean? Like that is the matchup I want to see, Giannis versus Embiid. He's the last guy that I'm like, I think he might could stop Giannis. But if he can't do it, I don't know who stops him.
If Giannis beats the Celtics and then Embiid just eats Giannis's lunch in the conference finals. It doesn't count because it didn't happen against Boston though. That's what it's still Giannis's league, is what I'm saying. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you have to do it.
But that's the last. That's like the last player.
So what is the dream scenario in your? I have to be careful with how I frame it. I don't mean like what will get the biggest ratings. I mean, what is like if you're running the league, what is the best story for like moving forward for world building? We're trying to build this league of the NBA. It lost its way. Kevin Durant joined the Warriors. A lot of people, myself included, jumped off. We said, "How dare you? Where my NBA gone?" We're slowly starting to come back.
Yeah.
How do you like revive the franchise that is the National Basketball Association? How do you script it from here? What is the dream finals matchup for you?
Steph Curry versus Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I agree. I think that's a no-brainer. I think Giannis becomes the new LeBron.
It's unparalleled. Yeah, exactly. And it's like we've already seen this David Goliath. We've already seen force for skill. We've already seen that sell before. And now you bring in these Milwaukee fans that have 50,000 to 70,000 people outside of the arena. They have the best home court advantage, I think, in the NBA right now. That's what the Warriors had with Oracle at one point. I think if they get back to the finals, you're in San Francisco, you have this insane atmosphere there. And that finals would be unbelievable because really the Warriors aren't built to stop Giannis unless Wiseman can play because they don't have the bodies. I mean, Draymond can try to do it for a little while, but at the end of the day, he's going to foul out of games.
He's going to get ejected, yeah.
He's gonna get thrown out of games trying to stop Giannis. You know what I mean? And Looney can't do it. So like that will be fascinating to watch. But on the flip side of that, the shooting of the Warriors with those three guys with Clay, Jordan Poole, and Curry, you know, like those mismatches. Yeah. Can the Bucks like with Connaughton and Grayson Allen keep up with them from the outs? You know what I mean? Bobby Portis is gonna have to shoot really well. So like,
I love Bobby Portis, by the way. Bobby Portis is awesome.
The best. But those two teams, those two franchises, I think that that would be money for the NBA.
I agree.
Shoot us to the moon.
I agree. I think that is. I mean, the Suns are.
If the Suns won it all, I think
Suns,
that's also
Bucks
a W.
Yeah.
Suns Bucks again, and the Suns win, get redemption.
Yeah.
That would be fun too.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
It can't be the Celtics. That's a disaster. We can't have the Celtics can't ever win again.
But when the NBA doesn't know what to do, they always go Lakers Celtics. You know, they always go Magic Bird. Like 2008, they were like, let's rig the whole system. Let's trade all these all stars to Boston. We need Boston versus LA.
Let's play the hits.
So I'm always worried about that, where they're just like, we need Boston there. You know what I mean? Just for the interest.
But yeah, like I get like Boston would obviously draw huge ratings. I'm not saying
but you said not about ratings.
It's not about ratings. For ratings purposes, it's Warriors Celtics. That's the ratings matchup that the NBA would orchestrate. I'm saying for like storybook, like what's the best
basketball
chapter for yeah. What's I would agree with you. I think Suns would be interesting. I think how do you feel about Miami in general? Because it is weird to me that Miami's the 1 seed and they kind of are flying under the radar, not in the sense that like no one knows anything about them, but it seems like no one's really taking them that seriously.
Yeah.
Because they don't really have a superstar player. And I find that, like, you know, no disrespect to Jimmy Butler. I'm aware who's on their roster. I just, like, there's not a guy that jumps out at
Jimmy
you.
just clipped this.
Yeah. But the Heat fascinate me because I think the Heat winning a title would be a great argument for like shifting into an era of basketball where it's not about who the best player on your team is. It might be about who's like the 5th best player on the court. And it, you know, like that's the kind of basketball that I would love for the NBA to be that. And it's sort of, it feels sometimes when you watch some of these games that it's going that way where like, there was a long stretch there where it ultimately just felt like whoever has the best player, whoever has the LeBron, the Jordan, the Kobe, whoever is going to win the games, is going to win the championship. And then to get to an era where, and it might be that way with the Bucks, with Giannis, like he just carries the team to another title. And then I thought I was happy with that. And then I look around, I'm like, maybe I'm not as happy because I think it'd be cool to live in a world where it's like less about like the one-on-one matchups. It's less about Giannis versus Tatum and Embiid versus Jimmy Butler. And we're talking that way. And it's more about you're looking at the depth of the teams and the way these teams play together and who's going to step up on game 4 because the guy who's the best player doesn't always play well in every single game. And the Heat kind of check those boxes to me, but at the same time, like Heat culture, whatever the hell that is,
that's what
doesn't seem like it's easy to cheer for. And like Heat fans don't exactly.
It's got a very Duke vibe to it.
Yeah, and like the Heat fans wearing their cut off jerseys at the games and showing up late and like that's not exactly a vibe that I like. So I'm all over the place trying to make sense of whether the Heat are as a franchise, as an entity, as whatever they are likable.
I think the 3 deepest teams in the playoffs to me are, I mean, the Suns are a very deep team in my opinion. The Grizzlies are a very deep team in my opinion. The Heat are a very deep team in my opinion. And you can throw the Warriors in there maybe. Yeah. I'm not as bullish on some of those guys, but Kuminga looked great last night. But in general, that's why I like the Heat. I like their depth. I like the fact that Tyler Hero in that second unit, like you said, it's like your 6th guy is someone we have to talk about because he can basically steal a game by having 30 points with the second unit. So,
I mean, that's Duncan. Duncan is like, I'm going to get a trillion. I'm going to get a 12 trillion tonight, or I might score 27.
Yeah, or I might hit my first 6 shots. Yeah, and everyone's like, Duncan Robinson has 18 points in the first quarter. You know what I mean? Like, he could be that guy. So they're an interesting team. I think that they were fun in the bubble, and it was fun, new team. Jimmy was having a great time. Everyone, he was a little bit vindicated for his whole Philly, Minnesota experience.
Yeah. Jimmy Butler won the bubble.
He won the bubble.
Damian Lillard almost won the bubble.
The Suns won the regular season of the bubble. They went 8-0.
That's right.
They were the way too early winners of the bubble.
That's right. That's right. And the Heat won the bubble as well.
Yeah.
Should we do winners and losers
of the bubble?
We'll do that next show. Next show, winners and losers from the 2020 bubble. 2 years later.
Upon reflection.
No, I think I'm leaning towards the Heat being like if the Heat won the title this year, I think that's a good thing.
That wouldn't be bad for the
Warriors, whatever. Heat. Yeah. I don't think the Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies and the I think Ja and Luka are. I think it's a little too soon. I think it's too. I think the push is. I'm just like my brain just gets in Vince McMahon mode where I'm trying to like orchestrate like who I'm pushing to the title, who I'm putting the belt on.
Yeah.
And I'm like they're a little green. I don't know if they're ready to cut the promos at WrestleMania quite yet. I don't know if we're ready to put the strap on.
And we saw that in game 1. You know what I mean? The Warriors won that game, and they really had no business winning that game.
Yeah.
And they have home court now. And if you're the Warriors, you're like, we're playing with house money.
Can I say something about the Warriors game 1? Can I just be a dissenting opinion? Because I get excited when I have a take that seems to be against everyone else's take. I thought this is just me personally. Like I'm not going to argue it that strongly. I don't care. I didn't lose sleep. I won't lose sleep over if people disagree. This is just how I saw it. I felt like Draymond Green hitting a guy in the face, and then a guy jumps up to shoot the basketball, and he grabs his jersey and rips him to the ground, and then got tossed for it. I felt like that was a fair call.
I was not. I was a little shocked that people were as up in arms about like this.
I felt
is
like that was
basketball.
Yeah.
This is what you're supposed to do. And granted, look, I've seen Charles Oakley do and Rick Mahorn do a lot.
I think that's what
Bill
it was.
Laimbeer.
I think that's what it was. It was like the league is soft, and anytime we get because I will agree with that. This was a no call in the old Big East. Yeah. That is clear as day. It's still a no call in the Big Ten. I think in certain contexts. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it sucks that the league's gone soft that you're tossing a guy for this, but at the same time, like it was really weird to me to see people.
I mean, the worst part about it, in my opinion,
confused as to how this happened.
The reaction by Draymond. I mean, like that was.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening? But at the same time, Steve Kerr was arguing with the official. He was like, you got to be effing kidding me. But meanwhile, the guy who did it is like, let's go. He's like,
it's like,
so the ref's
I did it. I'll do it again.
So the ref's like, he's like not even listening to Steve Kerr's argument because he's like, I mean, the guy seems like he's pretty set on doing something again.
That is true. Steve Kerr's like, you didn't even touch him. Exactly. Draymond's like, yeah.
He's like, yeah, I did it. Yeah, I'll do it again too. He's like, sir, get this man out of here.
It was crazy because at halftime they go to Stephen A. and Jalen, and I'm ready to hear what they have to say about it. Not that I care, not that not that this
it's entertaining.
Not that it's like I'm on the fence and whatever these guys say is going to sway my opinion. But Stephen A. is like, it was ridiculous. It was erroneous. It was, and he's going on, and I thought he was setting up to say like it was ridiculous
that
Draymond to do that.
Yes.
And then everyone, the consensus seemed to be it was ridiculous that he got tossed. And again, I don't like if he gets called for a flagrant one there, I am in no way arguing that he should have been tossed or anything like that. I'm just saying like you won't find me defending the guy that hit the man in the face and then put him down by his jersey. I'm not going to be the one that steps up and is like, he deserves better treatment from the refs. And then, but it's a genius move from Draymond because now he gets to play the angle of like the reputation card, which is what he's already saying. It's already like this is just because of my reputation I have with these officials.
It precedes me, and they have said and they have marked me and said if you do anything that crosses the line in our mind, you're tossed.
Which is it's genius because anytime he gets called for a foul now, he can just be like that clearly wasn't a foul. It's just my reputation.
It's my reputation.
It's my reputation.
Yeah. And then I saw someone tweeted at him Chris Paul. I don't know if you saw Chris Paul. He went up for a fadeaway and he kicked Jose Alvarado in the nuts, repeat offender.
Yeah.
But Draymond was like, he basically just like snitches on this play that he's like, but I don't want to see anybody get this. You know what I mean?
And then everyone was like, wow, I find it interesting that Chris Paul doesn't get punished for this at all. And Chris Paul literally got like they reviewed it and called it a flagrant after the game.
Yeah.
Like he got assessed like a
Well, in the NBA after the game, they could have said, in theory, based on the reaction, they could have been like, Draymond did not deserve to get thrown out of the game, but they doubled down and said he did.
Yeah, of course he did.
well,
I think the argument
they also
became,
released another angle, and Draymond obviously smacks
he hit him in the face and pulled him down by the jersey. Like again, I don't care either way what happened. I care that like I can't imagine watching that and being like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna defend Draymond. I'm gonna defend this and say this is wrong.
Everyone likes Draymond.
That's what I mean. It's just like,
which is fun. I mean, I like Draymond.
I like Draymond too. I just like they hit him in the face and pulled him down by the jersey.
I like Brandon Clark too. Brandon Clark has been great for the Grizzlies.
Draymond Green struck a man, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Tate. And on
Do you
our
think
show,
this brings well, obviously Jordan Poole and Draymond Green brings Michigan State and Michigan together.
Whoa.
But maybe this is the slap
that's a great point.
that they're like,
Michigan fans like, I find it interesting you're railing on Juwan Howard when Draymond Green struck a man as well. The Michigan State fans are like, damn, my brain's in a process.
yeah, they're like, you're not wrong.
You got me. Great point.
Oh man,
Great point. No, Draymond played it perfectly because now moving forward, anytime anything happens, he can just you can play it. Speaking of Michigan State, can we talk about Jordan Poole a little bit?
Yeah,
this has been so fun to watch.
He's been great. Game 1, Jordan Poole is the guy. He's going to get you 30 points based on history. Those are just the facts. In a Game 1 in the playoffs, Jordan Poole is going to drop 30 or more points.
He was the 2018 draft, correct?
Yes.
That was the 2018 title game.
Hit the shot against Houston. That was the first moment where we were like, this guy.
And again, talking about how the haters are always a little bit louder, and then they disappear when you're right. The 2018 draft, I made as many Luka Doncic jokes as possible because Luka could win the next 15 titles in a row and the next 15 MVPs, and I will still laugh at every single person who pretended like they watched. They pretended like they were ripping through EuroLeague tape on the regular and
acted as if they watched the EuroLeague on the regular.
They
watched the
synergy,
EuroLeague like we watched college basketball. Yes.
They remind, like that, like the EuroLeague was Formula One now, where like everyone's an expert. Everyone is into it. And,
yes.
Everyone.
I've always been into it actually.
Yeah. So anytime Luka scores more than 20 points in a playoff game, I have people tweeting at me like, "I bet you feel like a dumb bitch now." For 2018 takes. And it cracks me up because, like in my head, I'm like, dude,
man.
the more people try to victory lap me about Luka,
toxic. You know what I mean?
The more people try to victory lap me about Luka, the harder I laugh because I'm like, dude, is that right? You were watching EuroLeague? Is that what it was? But what no one wants to talk about, Tate, what these same people don't want to talk about was this show. It was called a different show at the time. Our love for Jordan Poole in the 2018 draft, and when Jordan Poole was drafted by the Warriors, I think there's a clip out there somewhere. I don't want to be that
gushing.
guy.
We were gushing.
I don't want to be that guy that pats myself on the back when I'm right, but at the same time, I might smash the retweet button on that we were gushing about Jordan Poole because it just felt like a perfect fit, and I believe my argument at the time. Klay Thompson was hurt, right? Like he wasn't even playing. I said Jordan Poole could like he is a splash brother. He's going to be the third splash brother. That will be his role on the Golden State Warriors. We fell in love with him because this man's confidence is absolutely perfect. His skill set and his confidence are the perfect marriage of a basketball player. That I talk about this all the time with college basketball players. That the hardest thing for coaches to do, I think, at the college level is to get the players to have the perfect amount of confidence. That there are a lot of guys that have far too much confidence and are taking just wild shots and making ridiculous plays and throwing the ball all over the gym, and you got to like pull it back a little bit. As a coach, there are other dudes that are talented beyond measure and don't really fully understand how good they are, and you have to like kind of get it out of them and put them in spots that they can. Yeah. You know, Jordan Poole was his entire career like perfect. I always thought like he's been perfect amount of confidence. He has a ton of confidence, but yet like it is perfect for how he plays, which is he's a volume shooter, but at the same time he's not like going to shoot you out of games per se. Yeah. Like he can if he doesn't have it, he'll dial it back. You know, and there's a weird.
He's reined it in. Like he is perfectly, like mastered his way of playing. You know what I mean? Sometimes it was frenetic. Sometimes it was a little bit like, all right, calm down. You know, you're doing a little bit too much. But is also a part of the
But
Warriors.
he's
The
sort of-
Warriors, like,
yeah.
chaotic energy is kind of like what they feed on, and Jordan Poole, he wades in those waters, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's why
And I think even when he
believed in the
goes,
splash.
even when he goes too far with the confidence, I think he can always dial. Like there's
Same
always,
with Steph Curry.
Yeah.
That's why people are like, I see similarities to them, because every once in a while Steph will do like something absolutely ridiculous and it goes in and you're like, how? But sometimes he'll throw it into the crowd and you're like, what's going on? You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
he'll be like, all right. Like the behind the back pass, you know?
Yeah.
He did that in this big pivotal moment and he learned and readjusted. He's like, hey, it's the finals. I can't be throwing errant behind the back pass. You know what I mean? Let's rein it in. Let's control it.
Yes.
And then Jordan Poole has gotten the confidence that he already had mastered. He's watched Clay and Steph, and he's like, I can compete with these guys. So that confidence just shot up
Yes.
to a whole nother level.
Steph
it's fun to
really.
watch.
This is on my mind because I've been watching Winning Time, and John C. Reilly did the opening monologue last week about
Yeah.
Roger Bannister.
Mhm.
But Steph really is like Roger Bannister of the NBA. That he the 4-minute mile was like insane shots, just like pulling up from
Yeah.
35 feet with a hand in your face and hitting it, and then like it unlocked all these other players that have come since him. You know, like I don't need to explain to our listeners how Steph Curry changed basketball, but it's like all these people could do this. They just didn't like want to try it because that's insanity. And then now it's
Yeah.
as it's become more acceptable to just like, I don't know, shoot ridiculous shots because
People
you have the
don't even
talented-
blink with LaMelo now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's how much. If LaMelo had come first
Right.
and was in high school taking half-court shots, people would have been like, this guy should be banned from basketball. He's like,
Dude, I should rewatch the LaMelo high school clip and I would probably be like, not a bad shot. I see where,
I'm like, they gave him that?
yeah.
It's a good look.
See, what he probably hits, 28% from there, and advanced analytics say, that's probably better than.
It's 1 and 4.
Yeah,
If he takes 4 a game.
no, Jordan Poole has been a ton of fun to watch in these playoffs. He shot 20 times in Game 1, Tate, and I guess that's my point is that like this man comes off the bench for the Warriors with a team that will go into the Hall of Fame as a team. Like it's a Hall of Fame dynasty type team. And this man comes off the bench. He's the young gun, like still trying to carve his niche out on the team. And he shot 20 times in Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. I love that so much because lesser guys would like hit, they would shoot 12 times and they'd have the hot hand, but they'd be like, all right, we're now in the phase of the game where I have to stop shooting and I have to get the ball somewhere else. Jordan Poole's not that guy. And I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like
No, it does.
I don't take that for granted. That you love field goal attempts. That's your favorite stat. in
FGAs.
basketball. You love the FGAs, and Jordan Poole led the Warriors. That's insane. That with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole comes off the bench and is like, I'm going to shoot more than anyone else on this team.
And that goes to
And I'm
show
gonna
that he has
score.
been told that he has the ultimate green light. And he
Yes.
started in the last series, so he already knows that he has that, and he plays that way. I mean, I loved the Warriors, the first iteration of the dynasty, James Michael McAdoo, Harrison Barnes, that crew. That was like my time with the Warriors, and I was a big Steph Curry guy. And I still am, but it's like evolved over time where now when I'm watching the Warriors, I'm getting a little piqued by Jordan Poole, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to see what Jordan's going to do, put him in the game. And when it's Curry and Jordan Poole and Clay, it feels like you unlock
Curry
something
versus
even
Jordan.
different.
Who you got?
Jordan. But
Wait,
Michael.
Is Ja Morant sustainable? Have you had that thought yet? Have you become an old man like me where you watch Ja
When he landed on his
this
back,
is the worst.
yeah.
This is the worst part about getting old is you can't just like appreciate Ja Morant, and
Yeah.
when he has a sick dunk, you can't just cover your mouth and like elbow your buddy and be like, oh. The old man part of your brain is like his knees are gonna start hurting.
Yeah,
And
it's Derrick Rose. I mean, it's the same thing
Yeah.
with Derrick. Everyone was like that with Derrick because Derrick was doing. I mean, Ja Morant does incredible stuff. I mean, Derrick was the same type of way where you're like, I didn't even know that you could jump from there and spin 360 and still hover and then
Yeah.
make an up and under lay. Like, what the hell?
The one dunk that Ja had over Beasley, right? Malik Beasley.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that, I was like, I seriously don't even think I could have done that in my prime, Tate. Like, I know I can't do it now. I know if I tried to do that now, I couldn't do that. But even as I think back on like when I was in my prime, like I don't even think I could have done that. That's how impressive that was to me. It was like that was
That was sick.
that was sick. That was
That
sick. But no, you watch the way he plays, and that's like an old man litmus test as well. Is just kind of how old are you? Watch Ja Morant play 3 games in the playoffs.
I think he can.
Any small part of you think like, dude, you gotta turn him down a little bit, man.
I think he can like evolve his game, and he doesn't have to rely on the athleticism as much. But I think right now he has such an advantage with his athleticism, especially against the guards that he's going up against. Curry had a great defensive stand against him late in that game, but when he's going against a Curry or if he goes up against a Chris Paul, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The speed and quickness advantage that he has, he knows is at an all-time high, and he's like, I want them to feel that, so I'm going to go. And it also, you can tell that it lights up those guys, on his team. Against the Timberwolves when he has that dunk, they were down in that game, and boom, it was off to the races.
11 or 13.
Exactly, and then it was off to the races from there. So I think my favorite part about the Grizzlies is Desmond Bane, because I love that they have that backcourt locked up. I mean, those are 2 all-stars. Desmond Bane is an all-star. I mean, he really is.
Say it again.
I mean, he is. Like, there's no doubt about it. I was talking about Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars, nobody ever talks about him. Obviously, they talk about the executive, but, like, the player, Isaiah Thomas is one of the best point guards ever, if not the best. But he had one of the best shooting guards ever right next to him, and that's what Ja has, too, which is the ultimate luxury.
Desmond Bane has he doesn't get enough credit for this. It blows my mind. It blew my mind at TCU when he was at TCU. Desmond Bane is from the state of Indiana, Tate. I think that becomes clear when you watch him shoot a basketball. But,
Yeah.
He has somehow. I had a theory for a very long time that dudes who are jacked cannot shoot because their muscles are too big. This is
Yes, that's a fact.
This was beaten into my brain when I was growing up as well, which is why I didn't lift weights when I was playing basketball. It's like
Preach, dude.
The one thing was
all the shooters, they were like, no, don't do that. You don't worry about that.
They say the old conventional wisdom used to be that lifting weights would stunt your growth, but and then like that sort of phased out, and it became like this is the stuff I was hearing in Indiana. And,
this is what I was hearing in North Carolina.
This is what we were told.
Also, smoking cigarettes would stunt your growth. So like all the kids that were smoking in 8th grade were like, oh shit.
What have I done? It'll stunt your growth, and then as I got older, and once I hit puberty, and your kind of growth is already happening, and we'll see. It's too late now. We'll see. Then it's like, don't lift weights because it'll mess up your jump shot. Like that, you don't want that to happen. So that's why, I mean, I know I'm making excuses, but that's why I'm a frail little bitch, is because I never wanted to lift weights because I was like, I'm a shooter. If I lift weights,
Facts.
I'm going to be jacked and I'm going to ruin. And the whole point is.
And it would get in your head. Like in 9th grade, we had weight training as part of like PE, and you had to do it. So I had to do bench. And then I would go shoot basketball, and I'd be like, I'm
dude,
done.
I was.
I can't do it.
When I was in high school, I was the last rep god of like when I would do the last rep, I would just grunt really loud and drop the weight. If you're doing like a lat pull down, just like, and then drop it, and then it explodes. And for some reason, my 15-year-old brain, I was like, the strength coach definitely thought like that I was like really giving it my all there. So that was my trick. And then somehow, and like the weirdest thing happened, like as I got older throughout high school, I started sucking at basketball, and like my athleticism went away, and I started getting fit. It doesn't make any sense. I never really made sense of that. No, the whole point of bringing this up is Desmond Bane has cracked the code. He's found a way. He's like the first guy who's jacked out of his mind that can shoot a basketball, Tate.
Where's he from?
I just wanted to draw. He's from Richmond on the Ohio-Indiana border, but he didn't go to Richmond High School. I forget the story, but Richmond High School is a huge high school in the North Central Conference, and they're not. I don't know how big a high school it is anymore, but it has a huge gym. It's in the conference with Newcastle.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. And by the way, I'm telling on myself that my lack of Indiana high school knowledge, maybe because I don't know if they've shifted around the conferences, but it used to be my dad's the conference my dad played in was the North Central Conference, which was like the Rust Belt like all these towns that had like Rust Belt type, factories, car factories. They all built massive gyms. So like in the state of Indiana, even amongst just the state, the 9 of the top like 15 biggest gyms are all in that conference. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
And Richmond was one of them. And anyway, Desmond Bane grew up there, but he didn't go to that school. And I always found that interesting because I was like, that you think you'd want to play in front of.
You would think that he would want to play at like
every night,
Purdue or Indiana or Notre Dame.
We should get him on the show and bring back. I should bring back my series. Why didn't you go to IU? That I ask every guy that comes on the show that's from Indiana.
Well, and then let's also have like a second series where we bring everyone from Minnesota on the show. We ask them why they didn't go to Minnesota.
And everyone from Chicago.
Yeah. We had 3 series. Why didn't you go to DePaul? Why didn't you go to Minnesota? Why
Chet
didn't you go to IU?
Why not Minnesota? Because it's Minnesota. And you're like, thanks, Chet.
Good point, Chet. Not
Didn't
bad.
think about it that way. What else? Is there anything else from the playoffs?
I mean,
Chris Paul went 14 for 14.
Yeah, that was.
I another dissenting opinion. I wanted to call that out as being selfishly unselfish, that he did not shoot enough. And if you're going for a guy who's supposedly the point guard and the guy that like understands his position better than anybody, I felt like he should know that if you're 14 for 14, it's irresponsible that he didn't take 30 shots. If literally every single time you're shooting, it's going in, why would you pass the ball?
Well, the truth is, if Devin Booker was 14 for 14, Chris Paul would yell at him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he would have lost his mind at him.
Keep shooting.
So if I was Devin Booker and he was 14 for 14, I think I would have said something to him.
Yeah.
Like just like what you said. I need at least 30 shots.
I need at least.
If you're going to make 14, I need Kobe Bryant, I need at least 30 shots.
It's crazy that the advanced analytics guys haven't picked up on that. Like that's where they lose me. Like I'm all for the advanced stats and everything else, but then no one's making the argument except for me that 14 for 14 is actually not good. Mm-hmm. You should shoot more. Mm-hmm. You should be 14 for 28. Mm-hmm. And then maybe you stop shooting. Mm. He should have shot at least 15 more times and missed, and then stop shooting.
I think my GOAT is probably Kobe Bryant because he has 50 shots in one game, based on my own numbers, FGAs. So I think Kobe's the GOAT.
You're a big FGA. Can we pivot away from playoffs and talk about the portal? I just wanted to talk about this. I don't even want to talk about the portal. I want to talk about. God. Have you paid attention to the Hunter Dickinson versus Mark Adams?
Yeah, I did want to talk about this. This is pretty good. This is pretty fun.
It's less portal and more just like scuttlebutt and drama and all caps of this league type stuff.
Yeah, it's really great. It's great off-season content, but it's all over Terrence Shannon, which is Armando Bacot, North Carolina was in the running at one point. He reached out. Illinois is who eventually lands him, but Michigan, it was supposedly a done deal, and then Hunter Dickinson came out on Twitter and basically accuses Mark Adams of blocking the done deal to Michigan, and then Terrence Shannon.
What was there was something like Terrence the story I had heard or read. We need like a buzzer on the show. Jim, get like a button I can hit that's like reckless speculation, and it's like a siren. It's like
it's like popping up in front of you.
Reckless speculation incoming. The story I had heard was that Terrence Shannon needed to take some summer school course to be eligible at Michigan, and then Mark Adams like blocked that somehow. Hunter Dickinson was under the impression that Mark Adams had blocked that course, which I don't know how a coach can stop a guy from taking a course if he's enrolled in the school. I think like maybe Mark Adams was like, we're not going to pay for it if you're transferring, like Terrence Shannon, like maybe that's the story. Like Terrence Shannon was on scholarship. He had to take like one more summer school class before he could get into Michigan. And then Mark Adams was like, I'm not going to pay for this. You're no longer on scholarship if you're leaving us. And then that's what Hunter Dickinson was mad about. I don't know. It was very strange.
I mean, that sounds right. That
seems to add up.
Your
like
reckless speculation adds up. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
We're like both sides.
Thank you,
I can see why both sides would be aggrieved in that situation. Because I'm a little concerned about the mass exodus at Texas Tech.
I was going to bring this up because
the Texodus.
Kevin McCullough is transferring. This feels like a Daryl Morcell situation from Maryland, where he to me was like the heart and soul of Texas Tech.
Yeah, when I think of Texas Tech, he is one of the names that comes in the faces that comes to mind.
And again, hit the reckless speculation siren. Yeah, transfer portal reckless. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Hit the reckless speculation button. I think the story of that was Devion Harmon is transferred from Oregon. He just committed to Texas Tech. He's going to play point guard for Texas Tech. Texas Tech didn't really have a point guard. It was Adonis Arms and McCullough last year were the kind of the de facto.
You bring the ball up,
yeah,
guys.
You bring you run the point.
That's a larger conversation we should have this summer. The difference between I bring the ball up and a point guard.
I'm a point guard. Yeah. So McCullough, I guess, like, because this happened with Daryl Morcell, like he wanted to play point guard more, I think, and then they brought in Fats Russell to Maryland. He was like, I'm going to leave then.
Yeah.
I think it's the same situation here, where he's leaving.
Again, reckless speculation.
Which it checks out. But also it's like, it is indicative of like the times we're living in, because like that's like something that simply would not have happened even 10 years ago. That a guy like Kevin McCullough and Daryl Morcell, especially, because like I get like other guys, but a guy who's like, he's been there for 3 years. He's from Texas. He represents you talk about programs of culture. Texas Tech is certainly one of those programs. and he had that. He embodied that. It really is like Aaron Kraft transferring after 3 years at Ohio State because he wanted more shots or something. And you're like, what?
Yeah,
that doesn't check out at all. But
he's like West Virginia said that I would get more shots.
I would get more shots.
30 shots a game.
That's all I ultimately care about. And you're like, well, wait a second. I thought you cared about
the team.
The team. It's like, no, never. But Kevin, who's going to be the one that cares about Texas Tech culture? And he leans in, he says, "It will not be me."
It will not be me.
But where does that leave us talking about Mark Adams now? Because he was sort of the belle of the ball last year with the way that Chris Beard left Texas Tech and Chris Beard comes back and they beat Texas's ass, and Mark Adams is so highly respected, and Fran Fraschilla is every time Texas Tech played and Fran's on the call, he's telling me about the importance of this man in the state of Texas and how much he matters to basketball in Texas. And I came away from last year, I was like, Mark Adams is he the best coach in college basketball?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Is he John Wood?
But now he's not winning the offseason, Tate.
And
he's not winning the offseason.
And they struggled in that Duke game too, you know what I mean? So like you kind of had a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth, especially with the talent on their group. But yeah, I mean, this is I will say, in a war between Hunter Dickinson and Mark Adams, I side with Mark Adams. But in a war of player versus coach, I side with player.
Ooh.
So in this situation, I'm gonna have to remove myself from the situation. I will not. It will not be me. Someone has to take a side, and it will not be me.
It will not. Can I'm full of. I'm just ripping off these. They're not hot takes. Because I've done this complaint before, but hot takes, Tate, used to be like
fun.
Hot takes used to incorporate like a government conspiracy or something. That's what made them hot.
Yeah.
Was like I think I think the reason the Bucks won the title last year is because of the Illuminati, and like whoa, that's a pretty hot, like that, and you have like an actual. It wasn't like, here's a hot take, I think Joel Embiid's the best player in the NBA. That's not you know what I mean. That's just like a kind of an opinion that's not consensus per se. You know, or maybe it is. Like that's not a. Even if you said
it's lukewarm,
at
best.
If you said Devin Booker is the best player in the NBA, that's not a hot like. A hot take has to have like some sort of like extra element of like, and that's the
It's got to have some heat.
It's got yes. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I've been full of. It's not a hot take. This is like just another a dissenting opinion, I guess we'll call it, Tate. I don't think players should just be allowed to do literally whatever they want in name, image, likeness, transfer portal era. I think I'm pro player rights, Tate, but I think as it turns out, maybe letting guys do literally whatever they want, whenever they want, and we all just have to shrug our shoulders and say they should be allowed to do whatever.
Get over it, yeah.
Get over it. Maybe that's not actually good.
Yeah.
Maybe
the truth is there has to be like a window. There has to be like a transfer window, and there
has to be.
And people are like, wait a second, what does that mean? It's like it happens at the biggest sport in the world. So I mean, it's not like it's impossible to happen, but there needs to be a set time for these things to happen, these transactions, whatever you want to call them, because the fact that it is open-ended. Kerwin Walton told North Carolina 3 separate occasions, I'm coming back here. And on this last podcast, I was like, somebody's hearing some crazy offers, and now he's in the portal. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be a time window. There has to be like a set-in-stone way to transfer and do this properly. Because otherwise, I mean, there are guys that are transferring to their second school that are like, what do you mean I don't have eligibility?
Yeah.
Because they think you can just transfer anywhere and play immediately.
Yeah.
That's how far we've gotten from.
And instead of looking at it and
was.
saying, yeah, that guy, you screwed up, you should have not done that. I think we're just gonna, as a whole, the loudest voices are going to steer the ship in the direction of like, yeah, that guy should be eligible right away. Why can't he do literally whatever he wants?
Adam Miller left from Chicago, left Illinois, transferred to LSU. Obviously, Will Wade era, we know how that happened. But I saw him put up a graphic yesterday with 2 schools. One of them was LSU. He's enrolled at LSU, yet there's a graphic of like,
I might commit.
Kofi Coburn committed to Illinois while enrolled at Illinois. What are we doing? What is happening?
That's when you get those tweets of first look at Adam Miller in an LSU uniform.
Did we ever see him in one? Right, because he got hurt. So I guess
That's true. That's true. Yeah,
that might be actually
looking at a Kofi Coburn. That's a better example. No, but guys, I guess that's
you're right.
It might be insane to say it, Tate, but as it turns out, every single person acting 100% in their own self-interest, with no rules or guidelines or guardrails whatsoever. That kind of sounds like anarchy to me. That sounds like the literal definition of anarchy. I think it's like actually. And
as we said on the last episode, no one even knows what is NIL now, because now you see people talking about like this guy's transferring because like there was a receiver from Pittsburgh who was transferring to USC, and he basically was like, I have this offer, this NIL offer to come here. It's like, well, I think that's just like a cash offer.
Yeah.
And we just used to call that the bag.
Yeah.
And just
well, to that point, can I say this too? Shout out to all the guys that are super smart and love pointing out that this has always been going on.
Yes.
And it's just now happening above the table. Like, thank you for enlightening us.
Thank you.
I picture that meme of the dude with the big brain that like wraps around and he's sitting in his own brain, and it's like a guy smoking a cigar, and he's like, or the smoking the pipe, and he's like, well, actually, this will blow your mind. Players have been getting paid for years for decades even.
Dun dun.
This doesn't change anything. It does change stuff, Tate. Like it happening above the table actually, like it's like saying that we've been going. People go 5 miles an hour to 10 miles an hour over the speed limit every single time we're on the roads. Every single person does it. You look at the speed limit, you add 5, and that's what you drive. So let's just get rid of speed limits everywhere. That's kind of what the argument. This is going on everywhere. So like, well, let's just. First of all, it wasn't going on everywhere. Like guys aren't getting paid at every single school.
Yeah, they
weren't getting paid under the table at every single school.
SEC fans are like, what?
Yeah, they were. Secondly, like as we were talking about it like last week, I think when I said the corruption used to be more pure. There's more purity to the corruption. Having like just literally any sort of system, any sort of guardrails, at least gives you a framework to work with, to say like this is the world you have to work within, and these are the guys. Like even the NBA where they have free agency and there's player empowerment and whatever, there's still rules. You still sign contracts. You still have a free agency period. You still have the NCAA is truly the wild west, and or college basketball where we're at right now is truly the Wild West, and it's thankfully I felt like in the last couple weeks it has become more acceptable to like step up and be like, this is kind of insane. This is actually insane what's happening here.
Well, and I don't know. Thankfully, we have stable leadership. Oh, wait, that's right. The guy's on a farewell tour for a year, and then no one even knows what the NCAA looks like. You know what I mean? Like, there's literally like if you want to keep up with like the car is just driving and we have no idea where the car is going, but it's flying.
But I guess the reason, and Lord knows we're gonna revisit this conversation a million more times in the offseason. Yeah. But the reason I want to bring it up this time is like this Hunter Dickinson-Mark Adams. I don't know the real story. It was reckless speculation, as it's what we do best on the show.
Yeah.
But there is a sense that these players should literally be able to do whatever they want and go wherever they want and get any amount of money from anyone at any time and just have free reign to do whatever it is they want. And anytime they get any sort of pushback from that, it's like, wait a second, what do you mean I can't transfer to Michigan, or I can't, like, you're gonna this has been happening with so there's some conferences I guess that are holding out that are banning interconference transfers. You can't transfer from one team in conference to another team in conference. And some of the college basketball media types have been losing their minds over that like guys are getting blocked from, say, transferring from a North Carolina to a Virginia or a Virginia, you know, that sort of transfer.
Yeah.
That used to be the norm. You couldn't do that. Now it's like most conferences are allowing it to happen.
It used to be like insane to think about.
Yeah,
that someone would do.
Can I be the dissenting opinion? I don't have a problem with that. If you're as a conference, like, this is terrible for our conference. If a guy if RJ Davis transferred to Duke, that is terrible. There's no other way around that.
Yeah.
You can say that's great for RJ Davis all you want. That's horrible. That's terrible for the sport. That's terrible for the conference. It's terrible for both schools. That's not a good thing. Mm-hmm. And if that's how you see it and you want to put the rules in, those are your rules. That's your
prerogative. What have you heard?
That's your prerogative. No, I mean, that's your right. Like, that's I don't understand.
That's the bag. But it's not.
It's fucking crazy, dude. Yeah. Like there are a handful of adults around college sports that are like, we need some sort of framework. So I'm going to put these rules in, and it feels like a lot of the media types, a lot of like the players that are currently playing, whatever. There's a lot of pushback for any sort of rule, any sort of handcuffing whatsoever, because for so long we had the system we had. I don't know. I didn't mean to go on this rant today, but that's.
But we went Portland.
We went Portland, dude. That's right. You get sucked into the portal, dude. Things happen.
Just start talking about all of it.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's the one place. The college sports landscape became the one place where it feels like the loudest voices that are trying the media types, the people with the active Twitter accounts, the talking heads, whatever, are what they are describing is actually wanting full-fledged anarchy where there are simply no rules whatsoever. Let anybody do whatever they want whenever they want,
and then complain about that.
And then when like guys like me are like, damn, that's gonna kind of change the sport we love, isn't it? Like, yeah, but it's good for each player. So I don't know.
Yeah, you don't want the players to get paid.
Yeah, is that what it is?
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
What I'm saying, Tate, is sometimes what's good for the goose is not always good for the gander, as it turns out. I don't know, but maybe that's controversial to say.
No, I think it was good.
Is there anything else we got to talk about?
I mean, should we just go to shout-outs and close?
Shout-outs? Yeah.
I just want to shout out Future, the artist, the rapper, the icon, the iconoclast. His album dropped on Friday.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I Never Liked You. I don't know if you've listened to it yet, but there's a song. There are 2 songs with Drake on it.
Oh, are there?
Yeah, there was. You remember the first Drake song, "I'm On One," from way back in the day with DJ Khaled.
Who could forget?
Future released a new version. It has nothing to do with that one, but it's also called "I'm On One" featuring Drake, and Drake is hilarious on it.
Drake? Would you say Drake goes hard?
No, he honestly is like a comedian on it. His like most memorable line is "Bust down, Thotiana, bust down." That's what the kids are all about. Yeah. That's what Drake's saying. So got far removed from God's plan. So I wanted to give you that update. But the album's great.
Is the God's plan era of Drake over?
Yes. Damn. Have you seen Drake recently?
No.
He has cornrows like Allen Iverson, and he thinks he is like he's becoming like a basketball Instagram influencer.
Oh, no.
From what I'm seeing from the outside looking in. He's like putting up clips of himself playing basketball in this gym that's obviously like a smaller court, you know what I mean? But he's shooting from the three-point line, and he has a headband on. He is working with Drew Hanlon. Seriously. These are all true things. He's working with Lethal Shooter, you know, like like he is. That's
the guy that got the beef with Russillo, right?
Yeah. We're like 2 years away from Drake trying to play in the preseason for the Raptors. That's what I am preemptively getting ahead of. You know, Drake thinks he's going to play on the Raptors.
Drake goes. I mean, dude, the way college sports are going, Drake could go to Kentucky for.
He could.
He could.
He could
play Kentucky.
Yeah. Kentucky right now, they're spiraling because Duke stole their assistant, Jai Lucas.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And then Baylor Shireman,
that guy. If that guy doesn't go to Duke, I'm gonna be upset.
I know.
He's perfect.
He was not supposed to, but I guess Kentucky would has bowed out of the Shireman sweepstakes because
it's Creighton and Duke now. I think are the 2 teams.
Oh my God!
And Kerwin Walton's also Creighton. That's the scuttlebutt. So Creighton loading up. Creighton might be a top 5 team.
Well, I mean Warren Buffett. They got the deepest bag of all, dude.
Exactly.
I don't know if anyone's made that connection, but like Warren Buffett is.
Yes.
I've heard of that guy.
Yeah, Wichita State is shaking their fist at the sky right now.
That's what we need to do, dude. Is Google all the billionaires. Where'd they go to college?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd Bill? I mean,
Kanye went to Donda Academy.
Yeah, right.
So he's
definitely a billionaire.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't Google it. He definitely is. Bill Gates didn't go to college, did he? Can he save Washington? Do you think if Bill Gates could pick a team to
Gonzaga?
Be Gonzaga?
What if Bill Gates invests in Gonzaga basketball?
Oh,
that's the move.
Yeah.
USC's got to have a billionaire somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll get our billionaires list together.
Shout out to Future.
Future.
I'll listen to my the way I stay updated on current rap music is taking Alex Toussaint's Peloton.
You're like my sister-in-law.
Yeah,
that's what you would say.
Shout out Alex. He's awesome.
He's
Love
great. Yeah,
I love.
Shout out to the Peloton.
But he explains rap music to me. That's how white I am.
Peloton was a sponsor of GM Street with Lombardi and I one time, and they said that they sent 2 bikes, and me and Lombardi never got them. and I've never gotten a Peloton since. I'm like, I need a bike. Peloton, if you're listening.
You took a Zoom meeting with Juliet, and she took it all. Our brand new
I think I went to record at Bill's house, and he was riding the Peloton. And then he had another one just sitting there. I love Peloton though, man. I need to get one. Yeah.
By the way, that wasn't a joke. That's literally that's literally how I keep up with rap music. I take Alex Toussaint classes.
I mean, Peloton's hip, so he knows what's up.
I want to shout out John Fanta, who had his Twitter account hacked.
Dude.
It's not as of this recording, has not been unhacked.
Have we heard from him?
I don't know. I don't know if we have proof of life, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe
I need a video ASAP. I need a walking down the street Fanta video in my life.
Here's my galaxy brain thought. I think that Fanta might have done this on purpose. Like Big Cat started doing that. Dan started when like the Packers were in the playoffs and they were winning. he would pretend like he got hacked so people wouldn't tweet at him. What if Fanta just wants to go on vacation, but he's too insecure about his spot? Like he wants to be seen as a grinder.
He's like, no days off.
He's a no days off
But
guy.
I do need some days off.
But I want to take a vacation.
So the way to get days off is by going offline.
But instead of faking getting hacked, I'm going to actually get hacked.
Someone did check DM, and he was like, will do.
Will do.
Turns off 2-factor authentication.
Yeah. Oh, man. Any other shout-out? The Stanley Cup playoffs start tonight.
The Canes. I got the Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes?
Yeah.
Are they in it? Are
Yeah.
the Blue Jackets in it? Probably not.
The Hurricanes are in it. You know what's so they're playing Boston game 1 tonight. It's actually at 4, yeah. You know what's funny? Every single, like, the playoffs start in hockey. I don't watch any hockey during the regular season, but the playoffs start, I start watching, and I get into it. You know what I mean? I kind of fall in love, so I'm hoping the Canes get it together.
I
hope I know at least 3 players' names by the end of the night.
I'm 100% a Fairweather fan, but there was a stretch there where the Columbus Blue Jackets were very, very good, and then they would choke in the playoffs every year. But I think they got the 1 seed one year in the East.
Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup in 2005. That was great.
But man, dude, like when you get into hockey's the most fun sport to be fully in on.
And games,
it's only ever
games
for like
are
a little
great.
bit, but like when I was living in Columbus and the Blue Jackets were very good, going to those games were so fun. Watching the playoffs was fun until they choked it away. I just googled it; they're not in the playoffs. Damn
it.
Oh man, I'm cheering for USA to keep winning, and I guess I'll just cheer for that. The Lightning have won the last 2, right?
Yeah.
Dynasty?
Close.
If you win 3, are you a dynasty?
I think
Is that
so.
how it works?
I think so. I'm a 3-peat guy. 3-peats are what get my interest. You know what I mean? Kobe and Shaq, Michael and Scotty twice. You know. Name another 3-peat in basketball.
Never happened.
Did Bill Russell? I guess he had to have 3-peat.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he did.
Really? No way.
I feel like we would have heard about it.
Won 11 in 12 years or something?
Bill who? I feel like we would have heard about it.
Kuzi definitely 3-peated. That's for sure. I will say, like, I want to do a poll. Who's the better player, Bob Cousy or Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Have you been watching Winning Time?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's fun. I think I'm having fun watching the show. I understand why Jerry's mad.
Jerry West being mad has, like, I wasn't out on the show. Like, the show, I thought the first couple episodes, it was a little slow, but it was different enough, and it was a fun subject
It's
matter.
fun.
I was
I
was like, this is fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch this every week.
Yeah.
I'm going to get really into this.
Yeah.
And then there wasn't a lull. It was just like the novelty sort of wore off. Like, Adam McKay's style was just kind of not, it wasn't grating. It was just like, all right, we get it. You know, like I was like, I'll watch it, but it was getting dangerously close to becoming a chore for me to watch every week. And then Jerry West started complaining about it, and oh my God, it has made the show so much better.
Yeah.
Like knowing that Jerry West was pissed off, and then you watch the show and Jerry West is pissed off at everything. You couldn't, like, if I was a Winning Time producer, I'd be like, this is perfect.
I'm like, Jerry is literally
Keep going,
helping
Jerry.
us. Yeah, he's like bolstering this character. Everyone's like, it's not exactly like these guys. And Jerry West was like, I'll show you it's exactly like these guys. And then the funniest part is that Magic Johnson, obviously, does not like the series. This is not who I am.
I can understand why.
Well, he goes and makes this documentary with Apple, There Goes Magic or whatever it's called. And in the documentary, it's revealed that Cookie, who obviously is Cook, is a big part of the show, she didn't see any of his championships in person. And he didn't let her move out to Los Angeles until the 90s. So the documentary is actually meaner and worse than the show. You know what I mean?
The Magic portrayal is actually the nicest portrayal.
Like it's kind of, everyone was saying it's a little bit like The Last Dance, where it's like, you know, he's trying to protect, like Jordan's like, I gotta be in on the, and then when you come away, you're like, this guy's kind of an asshole a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like the same situation where it's like, yes, this is a dramatized, heightened version of it, but at some level, it's exactly what it was.
Who's winners and losers at winning time? Who's the guy? Who's the guy that should be most excited?
Pat Riley.
Pat Riley, I would agree with that.
Number one.
He's
gets to be played by Oscar-winning actor Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
Gets to basically show that he was like an up-and-coming grinder, you know what I mean? But also knew a lot. You know, the Chick Hearn stuff is hilarious. I think they did a great job with that. So he's number one. He might be the winner by a mile, honestly.
He's married to Britta from Community.
Yeah.
That's another W. I would agree with that. I'd say Jack McKinney too.
Yeah.
Like if you're watching the show, especially if you're like our age, you probably I certainly didn't realize like Jack McKinney was like I don't even think I probably knew he was the coach or like the guy who
the founder of Showtime. Yeah.
I would have thought Westhead, because Westhead goes to LMU with Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers, and they have their run in 1990, and like. I know about the system. I knew about Westhead's success and all of that, but I would have, based on the LMU experience, assumed that like it was sort of his
system.
You know, his system.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was.
So
him.
Jack McKinney's probably a big one, even though he's kind of a crusty dude and like not exactly a guy you want to hang out with. And then Magic's probably the worst, right?
I actually love the character on the show. Like I'm like pulling. I feel like we're pulling for Magic. You know what I mean? We obviously understand the pitfalls, but then you're like, wow, this is. But as it's going on, you're like, wow, this is wild. That I mean, Kareem does him no favors. I understand. You saw his review that he wrote.
Kareem,
he was like, I'm not mad, but then like wrote like the most I'm mad thing.
The
I've
two
ever
guys
seen.
that are portrayed as like being like assholes and like mad at the world. Are the two guys that have spoken up as like the portrayal of me being mad at everything is horseshit. It's so good.
He was really mad about they took the airplane scene, and then he told the kid to F off. He's like, I've never told a kid to do that. Which like I probably agree with that. Kareem probably never did that, but like it's like a height.
I would say Westhead could be pretty mad at like looking like a doofus a little bit.
Yeah,
he's made out to be like he has no idea what he's doing.
Like a bumbling fool, kind of. Like he didn't even understand basketball the way.
How many guys are out there? 5.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's 5 on
he's like asking Pat Riley everything.
Yeah.
He's like, how many timeouts I got?
Oh man. All right, that might be it. Oh, here's another power rankings question. We forgot to do this with the playoffs. Who's him? Who's the him right now? Give me your power. We should do that. That's a good way to, instead of doing I think the Houston Cougars killed the fraud power rankings on the show.
Yeah, I think so.
For at least a calendar year.
Okay. Let's do the him power ranking.
I want to do the fraud power rankings with the NBA teams because that's when it started. That was the most fun. It's like calling Kevin Durant a fraud for losing to the Celtics, stuff like that. But Houston ruined it. Thanks, Houston. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Now we have a problem.
We could do the I'm him power rankings. Is that what Josh said when he did the phone call? Was he? Did you see that celebration?
Yeah. I really,
Mr. President, it's me, Ja Morant.
I really like Ja.
Let you know,
I really like Ja, but I fear both for the athleticism thing that we were talking about earlier, and I both fear for like the online usage. You know what I mean? Like I think
too much.
He's tweeting too much. He's too online. My number one I'm him power rankings though, it's just one him. That's it. It's Giannis.
It's Giannis.
Just one. He is him.
I don't think Giannis can be him because Giannis doesn't want to be him. I think part of being him.
So if Giannis doesn't want to be him, then Jordan Poole is him.
I think Jordan Poole might be him.
Jordan Poole is him.
I think it's whoever.
Game 1 Jordan Poole.
I think it's just
specifically
the Warriors Grizzlies series. Whoever wins each game at that point in time, that person is him.
Grizzlies are winning game 2, so Ja Morant. Let's get ahead of it. Ja Morant is him. Okay.
Yeah.
Ja Morant is.
But then if the Warriors win again, it's back to Jordan Poole.
Or maybe Curry in game 3. Curry
who has the? What I'm saying is, who has the him belt?
Klay Thompson.
Get out of here. All right,
Jim. Anything?
We've got Jim. You have shoutouts?
Congratulations, Harry, on his wedding.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
congratulations, Harry.
Love is
Love
in
you.
the air in our universe. Huh?
I know. It's everywhere.
Kyle getting engaged. And
Who's next?
Oh yeah, that's off.
we went to it might be. I went to the
That's off.
I went to the Dodgers game with on Friday with Kyle and his fiance.
Oh, that's sweet.
And it felt like I was watching the Newlywed Game, like just like because we were on like a little double date situation. We're just we're throwing out these questions, just like trying to get like the romantic vibe in the air and all that.
Can I give you a little secret about a double date?
What's that?
It's a game. It's a competition.
It
and
is.
every single couple that goes on a double date knows that if you've been in a long-term relationship, I'm a 6-year guy, went on a lot of double dates. All it is you trying to make yourself feel better about your relationship.
Yeah.
That's why people are there.
And I guess
So did you feel good when leaving that night? Did you win?
well, because I wasn't the one. I wasn't the one in the crosshairs because I'm not engaged. So,
Exactly.
Like,
So
Kyle
you
was
won.
engaged. So, yeah.
You win.
And oh my god, it was so funny because his fiance told me that her father had listened to the podcast.
Oh.
And he loved it.
Oh, good.
And
Oh God. Oh, good.
so what an experience going to the game Friday night and just listening to like watching them two interact and like you know you just drop like a little grenade in there. You're just like, so what color flowers are we thinking? And you drop the grenade and you back away. And you watch those two like.
Dude, you got to be careful though, because you get around engaged people with fiancés. First off, they're gonna say fiance way too many times, and then
Yeah.
second off, it rubs off
starts rubbing off
on
on
your
you. Yeah.
significant other, and then they start saying things like,
No.
"I like that Kyle knows what he wants," and you're like. What do you mean?
no,
Kyle knows what he wants. Why? Because he got a hot dog? No, he just he just went ahead, and then you're like, "Oh God,
No.
it'll blow back." Got to
No,
be
no,
careful.
No.
Got to be careful, Jim. Be careful out there.
That will not be happening. It will not be me. It will not be me. All right. Shout out to Harry for getting married. Shout out to Kyle for being engaged. Shout out to Giannis and everyone else for. Shout out to.
Celtics are gonna win game 2. We'll
I
just go
agree.
ahead and get ahead of
I
that.
agree. All right. We'll be back Friday. See you guys.